Hello there, this is Anastasia Bizzarri, real estate with an accent, and I'm here with Denise Drews, the loan officer for PRMG Incorporated. And I have a few questions for her today on a topic that, I personally know very little about, and I asked an expert for more information. Student loans. Apparently, there's a really large number of student loans in the US. Upward of 45 million people have students loans. And this appears to be also cross-generational. Denise, can you please elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. Student loans can be kind of tricky when qualifying for a mortgage. And it's not just the younger people who have student loans. A lot of parents and grandparents have co-signed student loans for their kids or grandkids. So that's going to impact their credit and their ability to qualify for a mortgage too. But the tricky part with student loans is that there's a lot of different ways that they can be looked at and paid. On a conventional mortgage, we are going to look at what the monthly payment is. And if somebody happens to be in an income-based repayment plan and their payment is very, very low, even if that payment doesn't fully amortize the student loan, that's the payment we're going to go with. So we're a lot easier to deal with conventional financing when you have student loans. With FHA, it makes no difference what the monthly payment is on the credit report, whether it's in forbearance or in an income-based repayment plan. FHA will require that we use 1% of the outstanding balance and count that as a payment in their debt-to-income ratio. So large student loan balances, in spite of what the monthly payment is on the credit report, can make it harder to qualify for an FHA mortgage. I had a client once who racked up $100,000 in student loans. She wound up not getting a great paying job. So did she party her way through school? Probably. But at the end of the day, we had to count an $1,100 a month payment against a girl that wasn't really making that much money. So the student loans really, really crushed her from getting FHA financing. But on the conventional side, because her income wasn't that great, her income-based repayment was very, very low, and she was able to qualify for a conventional loan.
So let me understand a little bit better. In what situation student loans are a deal breaker?
They're a deal breaker if the payment that we have to use puts the debt to income ratios over the acceptable level for any particular loan program. That's why with conventional financing, we're allowed to use the lower income-based repayment plan. So you're more likely to qualify for conventional financing. With FHA, it's going to be a lot harder depending on the balance. Now, if somebody has a $20,000 student loan, we're going to use a $200 a month payment. If they have $100,000 worth of student loans, we're going to use $1,000 a month payments. Those are what can be deal killers for FHA financing.
So to link up to the positive side of your answer, what steps do you recommend people with student loans take in order to qualify for a loan?
First step is to make sure that your credit's good enough to be approved for conventional financing, and reach out to your student loan servicer and ask them for an income-based repayment plan if your income really isn't sufficient to support the fully amortized payment. Now, one last thing, and that is student loans do go into forbearance. On a conventional loan, you need to ask your servicer, what would the payment be if it were not in forbearance? And that's the payment that we'll use. On FHA, even if it's in forbearance, we're still going to go off the balance of the student loans to determine a monthly payment, which will be 1% of the outstanding balance.
Now, can you explain to us again what is forbearance?
Forbearance is when, for whatever reason, the student loan servicer halts payments. currently. COVID-19 is a good example of why there's forbearance. But a lot of people, their student loans go into forbearance because they're still in school. They're maybe getting a postgraduate degree, or they've gone into a field where so many years of working in that field, your student loan is forgiven. So in the meantime, it's in forbearance, but we can't ignore the fact that that debt is there. So again, for conventional loans, we're going to have the borrower reach out to their student loan servicer and get a number from them of what the payment would be when it's not in forbearance, and FHA doesn't matter, 1% of the outstanding balance.
Perfect. Now, one more thing. Can you give us the top 5 things that students, well, students or not, in this case, student loan bearers need to do in order to qualify for a mortgage? In other words, if you can summarize what you just said in 5 points so that people have a good understanding, and I can put those on the screen as well.
I guess the 5 points are focus on being able to get conventional financing. Look at your credit. Get your credit in a position where it's good enough to be approved for conventional financing. Communicate with your student loan servicer. Ask for the income-based repayment plan and have that report to the credit bureau. If you are in a forbearance, that's fine, but we still need to come up with a payment for you. And never ever miss a payment when you are in a repayment plan for your student loan, whether it's income-based or just normal repayment. Never ever miss a payment.
That is awesome. So in other words, people that have a student loan can qualify for loans. There are a few steps that they need to take, and those few steps you just see it highlighted on the screen. So thank you so much, Denise. This is absolutely great. You know, any final comments you want to make?
The only comment I want to make is that student loans won't necessarily stop someone from buying a property, but it will have an impact on it. So the having good credit and getting into an income-based repayment plan with your student loan servicer is the best way to get yourself in position to buy a home.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And as you can see, the phone rings off the hook. Thank you so much, everybody.